Welcome to this version 1 video blog on OCI cost optimization. This particular video is talking about forecasting and budgeting for OCI cloud services. My name is Paul Bullen. I'm a principal Oracle license consultant here at version 1. I'm helping people with all aspects of Oracle licensing and doing that independently to give people insight and expertise as to the best way to manage their Oracle assets. So a quick recap on how Oracle Cloud, in particular OCI, which offers IaaS and PaaS offerings, is paid for with Oracle. That's obviously a key part of the cost and the way things work here. So for those who don't know, OCI is based on a committed spend. So you agree to spend a certain amount of money with Oracle, let's say $1 million a year. That forms a pot of universal credits, and from that you get to draw down against the price list that Oracle have for each of their cloud services. So you could consume that with a wide variety of different services, or you could use it just with a small number or even a single cloud service. The amount of those services that you consume obviously then gets drawn down from that commitment you've made to Oracle, and hopefully you've got everything right and you pay no more than what you've already committed to Oracle. And in fact, you use as much of that commitment as you possibly can without overstepping that mark. So there is a commitment. It's an annual commitment, usually with a multi-year offering, usually sort of a standard deal that Oracle proposed to people. At the end of that period, if you don't use all the universal credits, then they're forfeit. There's nothing you can do with them. So as shown by this next version of the graph, you know, if you've committed $1 million and you've got $50,000 at the end of that service period, then that's a good outcome. It could be better, but it's better than sort of only having 50% use the commitment or using it over and above. Now, it used to be the case that for an overage, when you used to consume more than the pot, then you'd be penalized and you'd be paying 150% of the original cost. And that's no longer the case. Overages are usually the same price as the standard rate card that you would pay for any service before you overuse the committed spend. So in a way, it makes sense to lowball your commitment to Oracle in order to use that overage at no extra cost. And as long as that doesn't put you into the next level of discount, then keeping that overall commitment low down makes a lot of sense. So forecasting, obviously, there's two ways of looking at forecasting. There's prior to migration to Oracle, when you're making that commitment, what you're working out that commitment to be and what that spend will be. And there's obviously forecasting during the period as well. So this kind of covers both aspects here. In advance of migrating to Oracle, there's, like a lot of the cloud providers, there's a calculator you can use to estimate what your costs will be. And obviously that's done by modeling your current estate, looking what that's going to look like in OCI, mapping the size of infrastructure you're going to need, the CPUs, and the sort of performance you'll need for each of the various services you'll need when you provision them in OCI. And obviously the accumulation of all those services you're going to provision in OCI and the way they are run forms your commitment overall. So it's a big sort of rolled up calculation which kind of indicates your commitment to Oracle and the universal credits you're going to have. So a lot of planning is required during that period. Ongoing planning and forecasting is obviously key to that as well, once you're actually in that period as well. And the way that Oracle services are consumed is very standard. It's based on the size of virtual machine, for example, the OCPU, the performance you allocate to the virtual machine, the size of memory, and the overall shape of that instance. So you can see there's a number of metrics here on the screen. There's the shape of it, there's the OCPU, there's the memory, there's the storage. And the combination of those factors then dictates the price of that particular service and indeed server. So you can see on this estimate here, this particular server is estimated to cost $362 per month. And again, the cumulative effect of working that out over a year and then over the overall commitment period, combined with all the other services, makes up what your commitment will be. There's also a bit more information on Oracle Calculator, which is available on their website. This previous screenshot just showed you, which kind of breaks down the cost a bit more. It shows you how it's calculated based on the unit price, the SKU, the service descriptor, and the sort of cost that goes with that as well. Obviously, the cost, like other cloud service providers, will vary by region as well. So it's worth looking at that and the region that you need for your services and making sure they're located in the right place. So if we take this first example here, this is a fairly easy one. This is Oracle database that's provided on an OCPU basis. So again, the more processing power you put into that, the more that's going to cost you per hour and ultimately per month and per year. Budgeting wise, once you're up and running in OCI, you can set up pretty simple budget alerts within OCI. This allows you to have warnings when you reach certain thresholds. That can be based on spend, for example, and let you know how you're doing against your overall budget, which is obviously good practice. A decent FinOps process will probably circumvent this, but this is, I guess, belt and braces if you don't have such a process or if you're developing that FinOps process. Trends are also important when you're looking at budgeting as well. If you've committed something to be running 4 OCPUs and it's actually consuming 2, then obviously there's a potential to optimize there. But equally, if it's maxing out regularly and you need to double that to 8 OCPU, then your costs will effectively double as well. So looking at the CPU utilization, looking at the overall performance of your services will be absolutely key to making sure your ongoing budgeting is correct. This particular server obviously is maxing out never. But it's getting pretty high. It's getting 80% once every month or so. So this server, there's maybe a bit of optimization that can be done to it, but not much. This next one, notice the time period over which the graph is shown is shorter. There's very little peaks in this, so there's a lot of potential for optimization of this particular server, which again will bring the overall consumption and reduce your overall budget quite nicely. Lastly, and we'll touch on this in the next blog, service selection is absolutely key to optimizing your costs within any cloud provider, but for Oracle, there's a plethora of different choices for a given service. So for example, Oracle database, there's a whole heap of different offerings. You can see some of them there. Depending on the features you require and the features you want, depends on which of these services you'll take. And you can see the price difference is quite significant for the top end extreme performance offering. It has all the bells and whistles, as you can see over on the right hand side here, but it's a significantly large amount more compared to the enterprise edition offering. We'll also talk about BYOL license included in a future blog. But when you're looking at these, when you're selecting your services, not only do you need to look at the price list and things like that, you also need to look at the PaaS IaaS service descriptions, which is published on the internet, publicly available, which then tells you, again, in a sort of a different format, the extra cost options that are provided with that particular service. So it's worth checking multiple sources to make sure you're getting what you want and it's, you know, the right choice for you, and obviously choosing the least expensive one where you possibly can. So that's the end of this particular session. There will be future video blogs. The next one will be talking about non-disruptive ways to optimize your costs. In the meantime, we have a list of some related videos, which you can see the link for there, which includes other Oracle and indeed Microsoft blogs about cost optimization. And this just left to me to say thank you for attending this video blog, and hope to see you at the next one.